Hello, everybody. I'm here with the surf band Rufus Lee King and the Dream. How are you guys?
Good, thanks.
Great, great on a
Thanks. How are you?
rainy Saturday morning.
Right, right. It's raining everywhere now.
Yes.
Um, so I found you guys through Hunter King from Storage of Reverb's list of all the releases in 2022, and so I went and checked your music out, and I dug it, and so I emailed you guys. When did you start the band, and how did you get things rolling?
Well, that's kind of a funny story. So the band is basically me and Ed, and we actually have a drummer waiting in the wings for when we finally go out and play somewhere. But how we started was basically at lunchtime. I'd bring my guitar into work, and I'd print out a couple of songs for Ed to sing, and we would just start playing, and it just evolved from there.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. The height of the meaning organic.
So for our listeners, how would you describe your music?
I'd say we're a mix of surf music. We like to splash in a little bit of the blues. I love the Grateful Dead, so we like to throw in a little Dotty type psychedelic vibe a little bit to it. And then Ed, his roots, you can chime in on that, Ed. Your roots.
Yeah, I'm a 70s and 80s soul guy, R&B, and although I love every kind of music, as most of us do. So, I mean, everything from Al Green to the Spinners to Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm a frustrated soul singer, is what it amounts to, Ryan. And Steve's kind enough to let me warble with him and try to lay something down that either comes off as somewhat melodic, hopefully.
So that's why soul is the way it is. They're frustrated, right?
Yeah, right.
So you guys are in Hershey, which is right in my back door. Hershey, Pennsylvania. For those of you who don't know, famous for Hershey chocolate.
And Hershey Park.
Hershey Park. And right next to our state capital of Harrisburg. What's the scene like there for music? I know Harrisburg has quite a cool scene. Do you guys travel to Harrisburg to collaborate, or is it mostly Hershey so far?
Mostly Hershey, but there's a couple of really cool clubs in Harrisburg, Club XL, and they get some really good acts in there. From who just played Kingfish Ingram, young blues guy. We saw him in there. A Dead cover band, Dark Star Orchestra. They played in there. There's a bunch of local blues bands too that'll play in there. And then there's another place in Harrisburg on 3rd Street, HMAC, Harrisburg,
Yeah,
Midtown Arts. We just saw Jimmy Vaughn in there a
Jimmy
few months
Vaughn.
ago. Yeah, he played in there to a crowd of about, I would say, 150 people.
Wow,
It was incredible. It was
he's
awesome.
amazing.
And it's
Yeah,
I'm
he
sorry,
broke it down.
Steve. Go ahead.
I was just saying he was amazing. His sound was awesome. It was almost like a personal concert. It was incredible.
In this area, like most other areas, where you have these kind of triple city type deals, I mean, Lancaster's got a cool vibe. There's some neat things going on in Lancaster musically. They call it Little Brooklyn for a reason. And ironically, just a few weeks ago, I kind of crossed past you in terms of where I believe you are, Ryan. I went over to the Sellersville Theater to see the Masters of the Telecaster.
Okay.
G.E. Smith and Scott Sherrard and Jim Weeder. And that was, so there's a lot of places in the area. It's just a short trip down the area. And yet, this is also kind of a regal area in that the Hershey Theater, for example. I'm going to see Boss Skaggs.
Oh wow!
Toward the end of May, and so we get some acts through here. Needless to say.
Yeah. Speaking of Lancaster, for years in Philadelphia, they had like a local cable station. It was kind of teamed up with Comcast, but they used to air the weekend shows at the Chameleon.
Yeah.
So we found out a lot about like local bands through there in Philadelphia.
Sure.
And sometimes they'd have, punk or hardcore bands show up and play, and then that would be their stop before Philadelphia.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a cool little venue too.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
They have like an upstairs and a downstairs.
I've been to the upstairs and looked down at the band Kicks, if you remember them.
Oh my God. Was that Cold,
My wife
Cold
is
Blood?
an 80s rock hair metal type hair metal. Yeah, that's her gig. So we saw Kicks and we've seen, oh my goodness, right at the spot we're talking about.
They have that song Cold Blood.
I'm sure my wife would be cognizant. Probably that'll draw her in here. Wherever she's lurking.
So what are your plans right now? I know you had what 4 releases in 2022?
Yeah, we're actually we have 7 out now. Our latest one called Motorcycle Louie, and it was sort of inspired by my uncle, who he's a Philly guy. Grew up in Philly, lived in South Philly for forever, right on Washington Avenue, and he decided to relocate to South Carolina. When he got down there, he was semi-retired and bought himself a motorcycle. And unfortunately, he crashed it, pulling it like in a parking lot going like 5 miles an hour. He tipped it, and then he sold his motorcycle. So just one day, I was watching TV and something came on, and I thought, I want to write a song about Motorcycle Louie, my uncle. So I wrote some lyrics down, put some music to it, and brought it to our studio, Ed's office after work, and we recorded it. That's our latest one, Motorcycle Louie. So we have 7, and we have 3 songs in the hopper, and the end game is to release all 10 songs as an album.
Oh wow!
So we got 3 to go. We got, I guess, 2 are written, and then I've been noodling with another instrumental that we're going to put down. So stay tuned for that.
Are you looking at putting in like out a physical copy so you can sell at your shows when you start playing out?
We're looking into that. So what we were going to do is just make a limited like 12 CD run, and we're going to have like a little CD release party, actually at our office. Don't tell my boss. And so that's our plan. Just a few people in there. Actually, it's going to be our staff meeting one Friday morning. We'll throw them out.
That's nice.
And actually, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
I was going to tell you. So actually, how we really started. This goes back. Ed, I think it was right around 2017.
Maybe.
So
yeah.
as part of our staff meetings, we get to run 2 a year. We can do whatever we want. And we do everything from different team bonding exercises to bringing in different contractors and vendors and architects and whatnot. So it was my turn to do a meeting, and our boss actually was off that Friday. So I thought this was like the perfect time. So I brought in a couple guitars, a bass. I taped out the notes on the bass for our in-house architect, and we played Bad Moon Rising. I figured an easy 3-chord song. And Ed sang. I handed the lyrics to him, and he sang it. And then it caught on in our company about our team bonding exercise. And one of our PR folks came in and actually attended our meeting and interviewed us a little bit. And then we did. It was Christmas time, so we did Blue Christmas, an Elvis version.
Ah, nice.
And so that was really the first time we actually got together. And after that, we started doing the noodling at lunchtime.
Nice. I noticed your Phillies hat. Are you ready? Are you ready for the season?
I am ready. It's time for Big Ball Hall to take charge of first base.
Yeah. What do you think of the trade moves they made?
Trey Turner was awesome. That is an awesome move.
Yeah.
That their middle infield is going to be incredible.
Yeah,
and then you have an all-star team in the World Baseball Classic, and he's batting 9th, right?
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, what are your plans immediately? Are you said you have a drummer waiting in the wings? Is the next step to rehearse for shows? And because by the time this airs, it'll be October. But for the summer, are you looking to play some local shows?
There's a small theater in New Cumberland, PA. It's right on the other side of the Susquehanna from Harrisburg, little town. They have a really cool old theater, West Shore Theater, and they have I think it's every first Sunday of the month, open mic nights. So our game is to put together a very small 3-song set, and we plan on doing 2 of our songs, and then we're going to do a cover of something. That's our first step, and then see where it goes from there. And we got a guy that we know from around town that has played in different bands, drummer, that he loves our stuff. So he said, "Hey, you guys ever need a drummer? I'm your guy." So we're like, "You're hired. You're it."
Awesome. Awesome.
So that's the plan over the summer, to get together with him and start noodling around.
I noticed you're a Fender guy, much like me.
Yeah.
Can you show me that Telecaster back there? It looks pretty sharp.
Yeah. So this is actually a custom.
Yeah.
I had to, so I always wanted to make my own. So during COVID, I went on eBay and found a guy that makes bodies. Rolled the dice, bought it, and then there's a Fender Strat, Fender longboard that I thought was like really cool. So I bought this body, and I thought I was going to try and do a replica of that. But I actually had 2 American Standard Telly pickups from my that I switched out of my Telly, which is downstairs. But so that's why I bought the Telly body. So I want to use those pickups. So I basically bought a unfinished body, swamp ash, taped it out, stained it 3 different colors. The Fender longboard is actually all wood, except mine's stained to look like it. And then I got some automotive pinstripes to do the striping. And then there's a local guy that builds necks that I stumbled across through a guy that I play with sometime, Todd Clucker. And he made me a neck, right?
Wow.
It's actually like and the profile is like I call it like a beefy C. It's a little beefier than the Fender C. And then I don't tell Fender, but it actually says Fender Surfcaster. And then serial number, made in Campbell, serial number US 21,000,001, I guess. And then so I just put it all together. I bought all the parts. It's all Fender parts, except for the middle pickup at the Marzio area 67. So yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Is that guitar which you use to record the tunes?
Yeah, usually, because with the 3 pickups in the Marzio area 67, it's versatile. So I usually use this the most. And if I don't use this, in the corner there, it's actually a funny story about that guitar too. I found it at a local guitar shop. He just sells used gear, and I was driving by one day. I saw it in the window, so I pulled in, and it turns out it's he actually sold me a bill of goods. It wasn't quite right, but I'm okay with it because it's a really cool guitar. He told me it was a US body with an 80 Squire Telly neck. But after I got it home, it actually had a Japanese bridge. So then I thought, well, Japanese bridge, most likely it's a Japanese body and Japanese pickups. So I switched out the bridge to a Fender US standard, and I took it to a guitar shop, Creature Guitar Shop in Jonestown to set it up. And he's like, "Dude, I know this guitar." I'm like, "No way." He goes, "I built this." Right. So just out of the blue, just coincidence. So, and then he told me the history of it. He actually bought some guitars from a guitar shop that went out of business, like Caught on Fire or something, went out of business in Reading. He bought that guitar, but it had a cracked neck. So he took a neck that he had from another guitar, put it together, and sold it. And then just so happened, 10 years later, I stumbled across it in the New Cumberland at a local shop.
Wow.
Ryan,
and I just
if
ordered.
It isn't already clear to you, and I'm sure it is, Steve, we may be two upper middle-aged dudes just exercising some degree of fantasy. But Steve is by far the passionate entity behind this undertaking. He is, as I refer to him, our composer, arranger, producer, chief lyricist, instrumentalist, primary songwriter, and promoter. I am like a utility infield all over. I bat about 200. I might clear second base with a line drive single. So it's his baby. It really is, and I'm happy as heck to contribute to it because it's fun. It's fun. If it goes someplace, hallelujah. But right now it is going someplace because it makes us both content and happy. So, and he's versed in this. You can tell this guy owns, like most of you guys who are good instrumentalists. But how many, Steve? We got 7 guitars, 8? What?
7. Yeah, 7.
So
6 electric and an acoustic.
I mean, I got an old ukulele downstairs. Come on. So, but it's all good fun, and I'm not a guy who takes things terribly seriously. I take this seriously in terms of getting things done and trying to, be there where Steve needs me to be, etc. And he's not afraid, by the way, to say to me, "No, your son, you're too forced. We're doing another one." He talks to me, he talks to me,
but always with a smile. Always with a smile.
Oh, yes, always with a smile. So but it's really cool. I just wanted to interject that it should be plainly obvious already that this is our leader.
Nice. So, other than Hunter King finding you guys on Bandcamp, how has the response been to your releases? Knowing that Bandcamp is very community-based software.
There's another guy, Jumpin' James Riley. He has a radio show, and I think he's in Missouri. Yeah, St. Louis, maybe. I saw him on Facebook and sent him our tunes, and he was nice enough to actually play one of them probably about a month or so ago. He played our song "Eighth and Ocean," which is really cool. So then every time we do one, I send it to him, and he has our stuff, and so that was nice of him to play that. And then we're also on Spotify, Apple Play, all the streaming places. And how he actually started the whole process was my daughter's a real musician in the family. She plays violin for the Harrisburg Junior Symphony. She's a rock star in violin.
Oh, nice.
And she sings with the high school chamber singers, and she's the real deal. We're just 3 chords in a dream. But so we got involved, like, I guess, getting it out there. She has a friend that records some stuff, and it was on Apple Play, so Apple Music. So I was like, "Hey, how did you do that?" So he texted me back, this long about different ways to do it. So I picked DistroKid. So we record everything, upload it to that, and then they distribute it. So one thing that's really cool, when we first released, I think it was Dark Road was the first one we released. I started posting it to some different subreddits, and I forget the subreddit I posted it on, which they removed it because you're not allowed to self-promote. But before they removed it, it got like 2,000 hits in like an hour, right? So it was like, holy hell, right? So with the Spotify analytics, it was listened to in like 36 different countries, and the number 1 country wasn't the U.S., it was Finland.
Oh, wow.
Well, they do a tremendous amount of surfing.
So apparently Finland's like the surf capital of the world, other than here, right? But it hit like all the continents except for I think the Antarctica. Yeah. So I actually posted it on an Antarctica subreddit, and it immediately got removed because they said everything has to be all about Antarctica. Because I was trying to get every continent.
Yeah, nice.
So, but so that's probably our biggest way to distribute was through some subreddits, and then just word of mouth.
Well, the cool thing is you have services like TuneCore and DistroKid, where it's no longer required to go through a record label, and Bandcamp as well, where you can release the music yourself. Does that relieve any pressure to get signed, and it's just between you and the people who listen?
Yeah, exactly, because we're doing it for the fun of it, almost like a hobby, I guess. So with that outlet out there, it allows you to distribute it without having to worry about all that stuff. And then with DistroKid, you actually create, like, I guess, a record label. So we called it McLucky Records.
Okay.
And that's just something on the fly. When I just uploaded the first song, it asked me for a record label. I was like, I don't know. How about McLucky Records? I just typed it in. Yeah, so that is cool. It makes it really easy.
On
Nice.
the subject, by the way, of names and creation of names, I'll let Steve tell this because he tells it well and better than I. There's a way that we came up with the name of our band also. I'm not, obviously my name isn't Rufus Lee King, nor is Steve. So go ahead, Steve.
So one day I was out for lunch and I was listening to the Blues Channel on Sirius, and came back to the office and coincidentally go into Ed's office and he's playing something on YouTube, and it was an old blues guy, Johnny Lee Hooker or whoever. And I'm like, Ed, what would your blues name be if you were an old blues guy? And without hesitation, he said, Rufus Lee King. I'm like, that's perfect. That could be our band name. And then I got 3 chords in a dream, so it'll be Rufus Lee King in a dream.
Of course.
And Ed went on to say, but, well, Rufus Lee King, get it? Leaking?
Rufus Leaking.
Yeah, leaking, right. That's where we got our name.
Awesome. So for all our viewers out there, there'll be a link to Rufus Lee King in the description. We could go sample the music and hopefully pick up a digital copy. Also below that, a link to Cool Pie Records merchandise and tons of surf music resources below. I want to thank you guys so much. I know noon on a Saturday is kind of like, oh, I want to get something done. You know, I want to hang out and chill, but thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks
Awesome.
so much
Thanks for having us. Lovely.
Terrific.